Good Morning Liberty.
Well, what is up, all of our liberty-loving friends? This is another fantastic episode of Good Morning Liberty. My name is Nate Thurston, and across from me is Mr. Charles Chuck Thompson. Happy New Year's Eve.
Yeah, it's going
to you.
Happy New Year's Eve.
If it's your first time joining us, first time hanging out with us, we do an episode called Dumb Bleep of the Week every single week that we possibly can. I don't know exactly how many weeks we actually made it this week. I have 46. I have 46 weeks we actually did a Dumb Bleep of the Week this year.
That's a lot of weeks.
It's a lot of weeks. I know we kind of missed the last couple. We only had 2 in December, and then there were some vacations and stuff. So we started off with 46 weekly winners, and then we figured out throughout the year this year, which was nice, made it a lot easier for sure. We figured out who the winner of each month was, and then we put those into quarters, so every 3 months. And over the last 24 hours, the live group, Fed Haters Club, has been voting on the dumbest thing for each one of those quarters. And now we know our final 4, and we're going to be deciding what the winner of that final 4 is. What the dumbest thing of this year is the person who submitted that, which I did actually go through and figure out who submitted each one of those things today. So I already know that answer. I'm not going to tell anyone because I don't want to sway the votes or anything, but I know that. And then the person who submitted it's going to get a trophy. And then the person who won is also going to get a trophy because they won the dumbest thing that happened in politics
in the
according
year 2025.
2020. That's a big achievement. It's a massive accomplishment.
I'm not even mad. I'm impressed.
No, I mean that's bigger than like even winning like the Israel prize or whatever it is Trump just won, like that's a big thing. This is something people are going to put on their mantle.
Yeah.
Forever.
This is up there with the Congressional Medal of Dishonor.
That's a good name. We need to try and figure that out a little bit more. The Medal of Dishonor. That's a good one. Dang, it's 2025. You just now thought about this. This is like our 6th Dumb Bleep of the year.
That just came to me.
Just then. Okay, so
I'm hallucinating this viral infection.
You are still pretty sick right now. The first one is Trump versus Massie.
But first, I want to say something. I don't think people realize how much work Nate puts into this. So appreciate your hard work, and I think folks should appreciate Nate's hard work.
Thank you.
Especially going through, you have to sift through all of these. It takes a lot of time. So those of you who support in the Fed Haters Club, who support the sponsors, who do all of this stuff, that supports the work that Nate does. It's mainly Nate. So don't credit me, credit Nathaniel.
I appreciate that.
For all the work that he does.
I appreciate it.
I just show up whenever I'm invited.
Yeah. The biggest thing you can do to help me and us out there, well, you could join the Fed Haters Club, join gmail.com. You could do that. Or if you don't want to do that, the easy, simple, free things you could do are listening on the podcast app, and make sure you listen to the advertisements. There's advertisements that are through there. Personally, I like the ones that just kind of get automatically stuck in there because I don't have to do anything about it, So listen to those, you know. But if you hear us advertising for a specific sponsor, like prolonlife.com/GML, you can go to that website too and check out all the goodies you can get through that. And
you can skip the ads on the other podcasts you listen to.
Yeah, just not this one.
Like Rogan.
Yeah, you don't need those ads.
Just hit the 30-second button.
He's got plenty of money.
Yeah.
He got a bunch of money up front. He's fine.
But all you have to do is listen to ours. Yeah. Don't even have to do anything else. Just listen.
The other thing, if you don't want to do that, just make sure you interact with us on our social media channels. Tell the algorithms that our content needs to be fed to people. We just had actually our biggest original thought post, which is, I don't know if you know that, like that is different that just happened with us, because we've had a lot of really big posts before, but a lot of times it was like a Milton Friedman video, or it was like that Douglas Murray versus Douglas Murray video, or it's something to do with Thomas Massie, something like that. This was actually the first time that like I just blurted out some thoughts onto a post, and then it got a whole bunch of traction online. So we're ending the year really well as far as that goes.
Ending the year hot.
Mm-hmm. That's a
So
good way
look,
to
if
do it.
you want to see this show continue in 2026, then better support.
Yeah, today, because I'm not going to be back tomorrow unless you guys support right now. Okay, number one is Thomas Massie versus Donald Trump. Really, Trump versus Massie. And I have to clarify here. I think there's, I got to keep something in mind. This is a specific instance of Trump versus Massie, I think, is how we need to do that. Fed Haters Club, you can let me know if that's not how we need to do that. The reason I say that is there were multiple instances of Trump versus Massie that made it through to Dumb Bleep of the Month and were in the voting for the dumbest thing of each quarter and all that. And so this one is a specific instance. It was like the first instance of the year that this happened. If I include all the other stuff that happened, well, that's gonna pile on a bunch of other options that didn't make it through. So I guess we got to be careful and try to just make it this first specific instance that occurred in March. I don't know.
So it's not really theme based. It's just an instance per se.
Yeah, because the other ones had their day, had their ability to get voted on, and they didn't make it through. So I feel like if I try to combine something from March and May and August together, then that's going to give it an unfair advantage. I don't know if that matters.
Comments might slip in there, though.
Yeah, I mean, we could maybe make some broad-ranging comments about it that could encompass the full idea. Okay, here we go. Here's the first thing. This was on March 10th of 2025 from Donald J. Trump on Truth Social. Thank you to the House Freedom Caucus for just delivering a big blow to the radical left Democrats and their desire to raise taxes and shut our country down. They hate America and all it stands for. That's why they allow millions of criminals to invade our nation. Sometimes it takes great courage to do the right thing. Congressman Thomas Massie of beautiful Kentucky is an automatic no vote on just about everything, despite the fact that he has always voted for continuing resolutions in the past. He should be primaried, and I will lead the charge against him. He's just another grandstander who's too much trouble and not worth the fight. He reminds me of Liz Cheney before her historic record-breaking fall. Loss. If you're just listening, and the word loss is in parentheses with an exclamation point after record-breaking fall. The people of Kentucky won't stand for it. Just watch. Do I have any takers? Anyway, thank you again to everyone but Thomas Massie. This was like our first indication that Trump was going to try to find someone to run in the primary against Thomas Massie. We didn't have that like announced fully yet.
And go after him hard.
Yeah, and they have gone after him pretty hard. Comparing him to Liz Cheney?
That's interesting.
That's an interesting comparison. I'm not sure if that lines up very well. But sure. And I guess the fact that they had a disagreement with Trump and they stood by that disagreement with Trump, I guess he aligns with Liz Cheney perfectly on that one.
Yeah.
That they don't just do whatever Trump wants.
I think Liz Cheney might have a chicken coop and Thomas Massie has a chicken coop.
It's possible.
So
it's possible.
Same.
No way. They both live in houses, I bet. So... there are some similarities. He said that there's a couple things to just take note of before we move on to the next piece here. Despite the fact that he has always voted for continuing resolutions in the past. So we'll need to remember that. He had another one here. You go ahead, Charlie. It's the next day.
Congressman Thomas Massie,
in quotes,
voted to delay the debt ceiling bill from the Biden administration to the Trump administration from September before the election to June after the election, without getting anything for this horrendously stupid move when Republicans could have gotten everything they wanted. He additionally voted to delay the current budget disaster from the Biden administration to the Trump administration. I was running for office at the time, doing my thing, and when I heard about this, it was quite simply hard to believe, a catastrophic mistake. Now, and virtually on every other vote, he's a very simple no. He can't even approve a continuing resolution, which was Biden's budget, by the way. Let's not forget that. This continuing resolution was the Democrats' budget.
Yeah. Well, so to be even more technical, there was a Republican Congress for the last 2 years of Biden. So it was a Republican Congress, but of course Biden had to sign the budget, and so they're, yes.
When he approved them many times during his career as a congressman, again in quotes, Thomas Massie is a grandstander, and the great people of Kentucky are going to be watching a very interesting primary in the not too distant future.
There's something real dumb that I hadn't thought about. I don't know if we mentioned really, but he talked about delaying the debt ceiling bill and delaying the budget until Trump came into office. And Trump's talking about like how terrible this was. It was like, oh, the Republicans could have gotten everything they wanted. Like, no, they couldn't. Biden would have had to sign whatever it was that they did. What if, just hear me out here, Trump actually said a bunch of stuff on the campaign trail about cutting government spending and cutting government waste, and he actually had Elon Musk out there on the campaign trail saying they were going to cut $2 trillion, and Massie has the internet, and he saw clips of those speeches, and he was like, well, you know what would be better then? What if we delay this until we have a Republican House, a Republican Senate, and a Republican president, and we could do those things instead of, doing something now while we have a Democrat president who's going to have to sign off on this.
To do everything we say we want on the campaign trail.
Yeah. I don't know. Just throwing that out there kind of seems like could be a possibility. Couple comments here. I've listened back to our episode, and these are things that were included in this specific dumb bleep. Comment here saying, actually, once again, Massie's on the side of the radical left, just like he was when he voted with them to extend the CR and raise the debt limit when McCarthy was speaker. We all know McCarthy is uniparty, and so is Thomas Massie. Forget Massie's words. His voting record will tell you all you need to know.
Now, by the way, why did Thomas Massie vote to continue the resolution?
Well, so there's two specific things here. He actually never. I looked this up today because we've actually combined a couple things. He voted for a continuing resolution one time, and that continuing resolution had an 8% spending cut in it to discretionary spending, and that was under Kevin McCarthy. That CR did not actually become law, and Massie posted about this, and I looked it up today to see what was in that. He's actually never voted for a continuing resolution that became law. What they then confuse is that in the Fiscal Responsibility Act, which was another act that raised the debt limit, he did vote for that one. And that was while Biden was president. But of course, there was also a Republican House of Representatives at that time.
Wasn't one of the reasons because he included an amendment?
That's in the Fiscal Responsibility Act.
Okay.
Yeah. So in the Fiscal Responsibility Act, there was an automatic 1% cut to everything across the board.
Oh, here it is right here. Sorry. Here's a tweet you got up on the...
This is the 8% cut in a CR that did not become law. He then did also vote for the Fiscal Responsibility Act as well. That had the 1% cut across the board in it, in what people in Washington called the Massie provision that was added to the Fiscal Responsibility Act.
So he got something passed.
He got it in that bill. Yeah. And that did raise the debt limit for the time for the Biden administration and for that Congress, the Republican-led Congress that there was during Biden's administration. And of course, they didn't follow through on the things that were in that provision, and they just kind of decided to ignore it or use all the fine print they could to not hold to it, and that's that. But people still bring it up, like Sean Farash, who said Thomas Massie was the deciding vote to move the Fiscal Responsibility Act of 2023 out of the House Rules Committee and allow it to come to a full vote. He also voted in favor of this bill in the full vote. Oh, that sounds fine. The bill suspended the debt ceiling for the remainder of Biden's term and wound up adding $3 trillion to the national debt.
I thought we didn't like the debt ceiling.
Well, you wanted it. You see, you want the debt ceiling when the wrong guy's in office.
But
See,
when
you got to
Trump's
remember
in-
to get the right guy, wrong guy thing.
When the Trump's in there, you don't want the debt
Right
ceiling.
guys in office, debt ceiling's not important. But of course, as everyone agrees, wrong guy was in office, therefore debt ceiling important.
Yeah, of course.
And the only reason that he voted to do that was that if they failed to do this thing that he knew they were going to fail to do, then it was going to have an automatic 1% cut across the board for things. And then, of course, if they just ignore it, who cares?
Yeah.
What are they going to do? Okay. I think we'll move on. That's done bleep number. Anything else about the Massie, Trump, Massie? More, maybe not these specific items here, but will allow for a period of discussion more broadly.
Obviously, this has morphed into something a lot bigger that they are going after him. They are trying to primary him. But I will say that I think the biggest thing is that you have a cult going after a guy who is the most principled liberty person that we have in Congress. A guy who holds, can't remember how many patents. He has 2 degrees from MIT. He's actually a legitimate genius. And he also is trying to expose government corruption and fraud, and is someone who has presented many good ideas to actually get us on the right track. And that's who the conservatives want to target.
Mm-hmm.
Not people who are a real harm to America. We're not trying to primary Ted Cruz or anything.
Trying to primary Lindsey Graham. Actually, we're supporting Lindsey Graham.
Not trying to primary Lindsey Graham. Yeah.
I'm pretty sure Ukraine's supporting Lindsey Graham also.
It's like there are many people that you could technically go after, but no, we're going to go after the one guy who's the most principled liberty person in all of maybe the history of Congress.
Yeah, this whole thing really, it hurt my image that I had tried to build up of what this administration was going to be like, because I listened a little bit too much to some of the rhetoric during the campaign in the first couple months of the year that I thought, Trump had the government going after him now for this many years, for those 4 years, and they had the Russiagate thing. And my kind of hope was that he had learned, he had this come to Jesus moment. He almost got assassinated too. He had this come to Jesus moment about the danger of the big government and the deep state and the spending and the waste and all of that, and that he was coming here to change things this time. And that, God. And also, that is an embarrassing thing to say out loud.
Also, he's a lame duck president, meaning he's, he got 4 years to try to clean up as much as you possibly can, but, and not worry about reelection, and actually, cut the Department of Defense, now the Department of War, by 50%, like he said from the Oval Office, actually cut $2 trillion. But it turns out none of that was true. The first couple months was just all lip service from the campaign and continuing to get people on his side in the first 100 days of his presidency. And then it all just went back to normal and then some.
It's when I learned that things weren't going to change. Like if you could take one person in Congress that possibly embodied the closest thing to the people who founded America and who wrote the Declaration of Independence and the Constitution as possible, like the most constitutional person that there is and the smallest government person that there is that is elected in the government, and that becomes like the first major target that you want to primary. I mean, it's right there in front of you, everyone. He's just saying, at this point, I'm like, stop trying to make it something else. That's the person that he went after, and those are the ideas that he's going after also.
And like T-Dub said here, he's the one actually grandstanding. While accusing Thomas Massie of being the grandstander.
Well, he's worried because, you see, Trump is the most first-rate grandstander that there is. And as we all know, he had called him a third-rate grandstander. Can't even be like right behind Trump. It's got to be further. And so that he's worried about the grandstanding throne being taken away. So he's got to go after that person. So that's number one. if we get to an honorable mention section, we'll play the ad that came out about Massie, but I don't want it to cloud anyone's judgment for Dumb Bleep of the Year number 1, because that's not technically part of this section. Number 2 is Douglas Murray versus Dave Smith. And I've got way too much video for me to try and play right now. I guess I'll play a sample of this, but if you guys remember,
I thought this was like 5 years ago.
Yeah, that was this year. In April of this year, Douglas Murray and Dave Smith go on Joe Rogan, allegedly to debate, I guess. That's not what it kind of was a debate later on. It started off in a super weird way. Douglas Murray decides he's going to come out and just criticize Joe Rogan for the people that he's had on his show. I mean, just started off the show in just the worst, just the dumbest way that you could have possibly started off the show. And I don't think either one of them really expected it. And then he also tried to do this appeal to authority and the expert class thing that just does not work anymore. And I've got a clip here to play from it. We can start it and stop it as much as we want. Probably not going to make it through this whole clip, but I thought this was a pretty ridiculous section of this exchange. And if you guys haven't listened to this debate in a while, here's a little bit of this debate.
But it's a very different thing.
He's not doing a podcast like talking to people.
Okay, nor is he doing scholarly work, nor is he working in the archives, clearly. Come on. I mean, he is not the historian of our era.
He's not claiming to be.
This is the thing, Joe. This is like punching jelly.
No, but you don't consume his work.
What I'm saying, because I don't need to consume endless versions of a revisionist history. I understand.
But it's not revisionist history. If you listen to his work, it's not revisionist history. He's basing it on historical work.
I know. But okay, so this is my point about jelly. It's a shape-shifting thing. Comedian or historian?
He's not a comedian.
Historian or podcast? Would-be historian or actual historian? You say he doesn't claim to be a historian, but he's pumping out tens of hours of history.
Does Dan Carlin. He doesn't claim to be a historian either.
You see my point about the move. It's like
this first thing, like appealing to the authority of or credentializing with the whole historian elitist club over there was ridiculous, because what really makes someone a historian? It's really that they study history a lot. Now, what technically makes someone accepted as a historian is that they have some peer-reviewed papers and stuff. So we actually are getting into the expert class conversation, like with COVID. Like trust the science kind of people, like, oh, he's not a historian. Well, what is a historian? Like they probably got a degree and they maybe have published some articles and works that were peer reviewed, and other people
with degrees
decided to say, yeah, that's correct. But it only matters what they said because other people had agreed at some other time that what they said was correct. And so you really have this whole class of people. As I was thinking about it for a bit today when I was going through this, like, man, there's just this cabal of people who get to decide what real history is, isn't there?
Yeah.
That's nuts. Like, what really is the difference with the whole trust the science crowd that we heard during COVID, which of course they're going to get into? It is possible that there are things from history that haven't made it all the way through to our common knowledge or common narratives that we teach in our history books. And that's not even what Daryl Cooper really does, by the way. He just also gives you the point of view from the other side sometimes, or he gives you both sides points of view, which is really what these people get upset about, because they've decided that the side who lost or the side that was bad should not have any, of course, no justification for the things they did, but they also weren't even human beings who were going through their own life situation and made decisions that they thought were the best decisions at that time. Like, that's super dangerous. Whereas I think it's very important. It's important to figure out why that happened. And to know why it happened, you have to actually put yourself in the shoes of that person and the decisions that they made in that time.
Yeah, what's interesting, the person is getting their information from historians who wrote books.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And just piecing it together for people in a format that they find digestible.
Yeah.
But he doesn't have a degree. So.
No, there's no degree.
Yeah.
Here's a little
Some
more.
weird jujitsu move.
No, I don't.
Where you say, hang on, you know all about this as well. You say, I'm not a historian, but I'm going to spend my time talking about history. I'm not a journalist, but I'm going to spend my time talking about this thing. I'm not an expert on this, but I'm going to spend my time talking about this thing. It's a weird move, yeah?
No.
You don't think?
No, I'm a free American. I can talk about what I like to.
You can talk about
so
what
I
you
don't.
want.
So what is the point
I've noticed you can, but we
what's
all
the
can.
point?
The point is, what are you pushing? What are you watering?
What
Why?
am I pushing?
Yes.
Liberty, free markets, peace, prosperity, not getting in another stupid catastrophic war, which we're on the precipice of right now. That's what I'm pushing.
What are we on the precipice of?
Well, I think weren't you just talking about it the other day? Everyone I hear on the inside says we're about to attack Iran.
That doesn't mean we are on the verge of a war. I mean, you keep referring to we being in wars. There's a very big difference between a country having a military that's engaged and a country being at war.
Okay. Before we get into this, I gotta make sure everyone's paying attention to what happens here. Making sure that we're not going to get into another catastrophic war. Yeah, I know. Charlie's feeling a little bit triggered right now. I told you your blood pressure was going to go up a bit. Heart rate's going to go up a bit during this section. Dave Smith makes a totally reasonable statement, like, hey, I want to make sure that we don't get involved in another catastrophic war. And he was like, what do you mean by we? War?
We?
And then he goes on after the we part, because Smith kind of corrects him on that. And he's like, well, that's not a country being at war. And once he slips up.
It's just military action.
Yeah. It's just, does that mean that we haven't been at war? Do you know that there hasn't been like a war on U.S. soil in quite some time? But we have, by we, I mean America, Douglas, have had a lot of people fight and die in wars, but it's been quite a bit.
Military action.
Yes. The military was engaged overseas.
Yeah.
Is what you're saying.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Not a war, though.
It's a very frustrating thing for him to do. And then once he slips up and calls it a war, then he's like, well, I'm just upset that you said we. And he goes back to it. And then he flips around once he realizes that he just screwed up on both of his points that he tried to make, and decides to go to Dave Smith and be like, "Oh, I can see you're getting upset, so we can move on." Like, it just.
I think I would at that point I'd be like, "Yeah, there's no point in talking to this."
Listen to the exchange in full now.
What am I pushing?
Yes.
Liberty, free markets, peace, prosperity, not getting in another stupid catastrophic war, which we're on the precipice of right now. That's what I'm pushing.
What are we on the precipice of?
Well, I think weren't you just talking about it the other day? Everyone I hear on the inside says we're about to attack Iran.
That doesn't mean we are on the verge of a war. I mean, you keep referring to we being in wars. There's a very big difference between a country having a military that's engaged and a country being at war. This country has not been at war for 25 years. You have not been fighting for the American homeland for 25 years.
Yes, we haven't. That's true.
Right.
We haven't had a war on our shores. We've been picking on third world countries halfway around the world.
Well, you haven't been randomly picking on them. I mean, Afghanistan, you went...
I didn't say it was random.
Yeah, right, okay. It wasn't like you suddenly decided to bomb, again, Myanmar or something. You went for Afghanistan to find bin Laden and take revenge for 9/11 and stop an attack like that happening again on the American homeland. That is very different from a country being at war.
Yeah, but that's a total mischaracterization of the war in Afghanistan. It's one thing to say that might be an accurate characterization of the special operations mission in late 2001, but then we fought a 20-year regime change war against the Taliban.
Because you got dragged into the quicksand of war.
Oh, yes. Okay, fine, but I thought it wasn't a war. Like, what? I don't get your argument.
No, I said it was a war. It's your use of we, as if you're personally like suffering this war. Yeah, you're a taxpayer.
When I say we,
we're taxpayers,
implied,
so we pay for it. Okay, fine.
Douglas, would you go, if I went back and corrected you on every time you've used the term we to refer to your government or something like that? Like if I were to say, oh, we just imposed tariffs on China, would you point out that I didn't and it was the Trump administration?
I'm saying you take it obviously very personally, and that's you're right to do so, of course. I'm just trying to make sure we're accurate here.
What do you think I'm taking personally?
Just that, the American wars.
Sure, yeah. I think they've killed hundreds of thousands of people and cost my country $8 trillion and degraded my country very much.
And there's a very good argument to make on that. I'm still slightly bemused.
I do at the end of that exchange right there. So they have this whole that whole exchange starts with him saying that I don't want us to get involved in another stupid catastrophic war, and he goes on the we thing, and he's like, "Well, you haven't been involved in the war." And he's like, "We haven't been involved." One thing he said in there really bothered me in protecting the American homeland, bro. That's what we've been told this whole time. You got to fight them over there.
So they don't come over here?
Let's fight them here. I thought we were protecting the homeland this whole time. So you're saying that's a big, massive lie? Do you think if you told the American people, who so many people bought into that, they're like, oh, yeah, if we don't do anything, it's not like anyone's ever going to attack you here, so who cares? No, they wouldn't have been as enthused about getting the oil fields. So that's important. But then at the end of the whole exchange where he just... anytime he gets caught on something, goes and picks out one other thing afterwards. He does two things, which is, well, I can see you're, he doesn't say you're getting upset, but he essentially does. He says, I can see you're taking it personally.
Yeah, you're taking this personally.
I know I can see you're kind of getting worked up. So, I guess we ought to move on from this. And then at the end of that, he goes, well, there's a very good argument to be made on that. So he actually concedes there that, yeah, it would be a conversation to make sure that we don't get involved in these disastrous wars, which is what Dave Smith started the conversation with.
Yeah.
After he fought him the whole time on it.
He just admitted it was a war.
Yeah.
And then he said, well, I said it was a war, but whew.
My heart races up on your behalf right now.
There's no talking to these kind of people. Like you can't, there's no way that you're ever going to convince them of anything, that you're going to make a good point, even though you do. These types of people will just keep going around and around and around and around in circles until you become so exhausted you just give up.
Mm-hmm.
That's the whole tactic.
Yep. That's what it's like talking to people on the left and on the right. Quite a lot, actually. What else is in here? Like, we can't play this whole clip. I got two more.
About this move from, I'm an expert on this and I have views, to, I'm a comedian.
I've never claimed to be an expert on anything.
This is the problem, Joe. I mean, if somebody says...
you have to claim to be an expert on something to have an opinion on something?
You don't have to be. You don't have to be. But
so what's
this is
the
like,
issue?
I'm not a historian, but I'm pumping out history.
But wait a minute,
I'm
what
not
about
an expert,
just-
but I'm talking all the time about
But
this.
you're not even talking about specifically
Did
on
you see that power move that Rogan just played on Dave right there?
Hold on.
Did you see that?
Yeah.
And that was just something else. Watch the hand. If you're not watching the video or you haven't seen it, it's just like, it was almost like something out of Star Wars or something like that. He just used the force. It was, I think Dave Smith got worried that Joe was going to hit him in that moment. It was so quick and so powerful.
Yeah.
Just that one
Hang
little
on,
hand
this is my
gesture
show.
he does.
Hang on.
Pumping out history.
But wait a minute,
I'm
what
not
about
an expert,
just-
but I'm talking all the time about
But
this
you're not
thing.
even talking about specifically on what he just said.
No, I'm saying, this is my point about this. You say, I'm not an expert.
So what's the solution? To not talk about it?
No, it's to have more experts around.
Well, the expert
To
class
hear-
hasn't done a great job,
I know.
man. This is follow the science.
Absolutely,
Yeah, but you know what?
absolutely, I
Okay, so
agree
fine.
with
So
that.
during,
I just said
okay,
to you,
so-
I agree
right,
with that.
Right, I know.
But
So
one
Douglas,
of the problems
during
is,
all of COVID,
fire away.
I will put my track record against any of the expert class on COVID. I'm glad to do that. So should I have just shut up? Should I have shut up by opposing lockdowns and opposing vaccine mandates
No.
and
Well,
talking
that
about
was
the
the
lab leak
argument at the
theory?
time. You realize
that's
that,
the
right?
entire argument that you're making. Let the experts handle this.
No.
You're not an expert. You're right. I was just a
You're
comedian.
wildly not listening to what I'm saying. I think you have to take. I think we should agree, perhaps, on the following: that one major thing can break down in front of your eyes, or many major things, and it does not mean that every single one of the sewer gates should be lifted.
So this argument really bothered me a lot because he is conceding and agreeing that the experts were terrible during COVID. And here's Dave Smith and Joe Rogan who questioned the experts a lot during COVID. They're not scientists or whatever other ist you needed to be during that time. And they were questioning the COVID consensus on everything. And since they were right, and we all know that they were right, And Murray was on that side as well during COVID. He's like, well, yeah, but just because you're right then, doesn't mean that we should just open up all the sewer gates on everything. But the problem with that is, who gets to decide what sewer gates get to be opened? These experts that you have to talk to. And so you have to have other experts that come out and say that these experts are wrong. And
by the way, this
doesn't work.
You have to understand the context of why this was happening and why Douglas Murray went on this campaign. Guys like James Lindsay, they were on this campaign of the quote unquote woke right folks, and this entire month or two that they went on this campaign trying to expose the woke right was that they were advocating for deplatforming people like Daryl Cooper and Dave Smith and other folks who were talking about history or current events and things like that they didn't like. So then they decided to label those people woke right and say that we have this issue. We got to go on a campaign. Murray even wrote an op-ed after this in the newspapers.
Well,
James Lindsay's still on X trying to convince people.
He's probably posted woke right 30 times today.
that there's this woke right movement and we shouldn't listen to these people. And a lot of people got mad at Daryl Cooper for talking about Winston Churchill, whatever. But then there was this entire thing and they tried to use they literally were using the same tactics that were being used during COVID. And the problem is for them that people just aren't stupid.
During COVID and during the BLM riots and stuff like that too. It was the whole rise of the left-wing wokeness. And the very annoying thing was the people who call like Dave Smith woke right or something like that, those people, the James Lindsays and Douglas Murrays, much more resemble the woke than the Dave Smiths do. And I think they know that. And what's always so annoying about, I don't know, narcissistic people or people who know they're wrong and they're trying to game plan, they're very good at getting out in front of other people. So
project.
So they project. And so before anyone calls them woke for the things that they're talking about, they go out there on the offensive calling other people woke. So when you're like, wait, no, it's actually, aren't you being woke? You're like, oh, well, you're just saying that because I called you woke. That's ridiculous. Yeah. You're being defensive. Actually, is what's happening.
Yeah. You're not even an expert on woke. I'm expert on woke because I published the first woke right paper there is.
It wouldn't be right to talk about this and have it as an option for Don't Bleep of the Year number 2 without hearing Douglas Murray say, "You've never been." So I just got to play that real quick.
You've never been.
Well, am I not allowed to talk about it now? Have you ever been to Nazi Germany? Are you allowed to have feelings about them?
You can't time travel, but you can. But you can travel.
Okay, but so what? So what's the point?
I find that
lots of people have been there and agree with me, and lots of people have been there and agree with you.
Yeah, but if you're going to spend a year and a half talking about a place, you should at least do the courtesy of visiting it.
All right. I just think this is a non-argument.
You don't think?
Okay. No, I think it's a non-argument.
But if you're
you have to go and touch the ground?
No, I think you have to. I think it's a good idea to see stuff, particularly if you spend a career talking about something. Yes, I have a journalistic rule of trying never to talk about a country even in passing unless I've at least been there.
Okay,
it's a sort of normal,
which isn't true, by the way.
Normal thing to do. You're talking about. Hang on, you're talking about crossing points.
It's not true. Douglas Murray talks about all kinds of places he's never been. So it's just absurd. And Dave Smith is right. This is just it's a non-point.
Yeah, you can very clearly read a lot from even people who are like verified, credentialized journalists or credentialized historians about an area. You can read every single thing about that area, and you could learn more than you could by just going and standing there and looking at it. Actually, if you read, say you read 30 books about something, or you went and you spent a day somewhere, I feel like the person who read 30 books probably has more knowledge of the place and of the history than the person who was there for a day.
Yeah. We learned from the interview, you go to North Korea.
Yeah.
Place is fine.
You got to go.
Kids are fat.
I almost posted that one yesterday too, where they got the fake kid up there. I was going to do something about the Somali daycares, But yeah, I did.
you know, beautiful looking vegetables and display on the store at the stores. You know, Kim Jong-un's a great guy, plays basketball. I mean, it's a fun place.
Yeah.
It's
So, yeah, that's what else we got for number 2 here. I guess I just have to point out that exchange, the best thing about it was that it spurred a really big video for us this year. And so overall, it was a positive experience. And I appreciate Douglas Murray for going and making an ass of himself and for completely contradicting past statements that he had made when it comes to whether or not you had to actually be there, specifically on the Holocaust, where he says that you can learn more. He literally says on a clip on Lex Friedman that you can learn more from reading books about the Holocaust than you can from someone who had actually experienced the Holocaust. I mean, that's pretty important.
So what Nate did is basically just set up a video of Douglas Murray debating himself.
Yeah.
And
my biggest regret was that I didn't flip one of the clips to make it look like they were, you know, talking to each other. They're both talking from the same direction. Yeah. I realized that after I'd already made the whole thing. I was like,
the Fed Haters Club wants you to play it.
I just played it yesterday.
Oh, okay. It was played yesterday.
I'll play it. Let's play it.
In case you haven't heard, this is Douglas Murray versus Douglas Murray.
Have you been to the crossing points?
I really resent that form of argumentation.
When were you last there at all?
Sure. I really resent it.
You should at least do the courtesy of visiting it.
This is not an attractive invitation.
I think it's a good idea to see stuff, particularly if you spend a career talking about something.
I have the right to talk about whatever the hell I want. And no one's going to stop me or try to intimidate me. And I think that if I said to somebody else the other way around, it would be equally reprehensible.
I have a journalistic rule of trying never to talk about a country even in passing unless I've at least been there.
If I said, shut up, you have no right to criticize anything that Douglas Murray says because...
Hang on, you're talking about crossing points. And not only have you never been to a crossing point in either Egypt or in Israel, but you've never even been to the region.
Okay. It's not an exact comparison, but seriously, is that a reasonable form of argument? No. In that case, nobody can talk about anything. We might as well pack up, go home, and isolate ourselves.
If you're insisting that you're an expert of some kind, or not claiming you're an expert, but still talking about it, if you've never seen any of this going on.
I mean, there are some people who've written about the Holocaust who didn't experience the Holocaust and have written about it better than people who did.
But that is a different matter from spending an awfully long amount of time talking about an issue in a region you haven't even had the courtesy to visit whilst developing all of these views about it.
This idea that the lived experience has to triumph over everything else is not always correct.
Should at least know what it is, what the territory is, what the situation is in the region.
So there's an irony to this, but let's skate over the irony.
That was good. That
was a great way to end it.
As I said yesterday, it was cool. Joe Rogan mentioned the video on an episode. Breaking Points started an episode by playing the video.
We didn't get all the shout outs.
Didn't get all the shout outs that we wanted. Actually didn't. Breaking Points literally played the entire video and didn't shout us out. That sucks. And Rogan said somebody made a video with Douglas Murray, which is cool. This means he saw the video, and I was like, I'm somebody now. That's how I felt. I was Steve Martin jumping up and down. I'm somebody now. That's how I felt. And so that's good. It got a little over 6 million views. And Charlie, you weren't here yesterday. How many views do you think it actually got?
Oh, between all the different plays?
No, between, so 6.3 million is what X says. When I go to the back end on X and see how many video views it actually got, what do you think the number is?
Oh, 4 million.
2.6.
2.6.
How many people do you think made it to that Holocaust where he references the Holocaust there?
Not many.
300,000 out of that many made it that far into a minute and 48-second video.
I was going to say, though, you got to think about if it played on Breaking Points and other places. I'm sure people have ripped this and played it other places. It probably got more views.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Yeah, probably in the 10 to 20 million range.
For sure. Okay, so that is number 2. Wow, 46 minutes in. We're doing all right. Doing just fine. Q3 brought us many things, but it brought us the opportunity to make fun of Pam Bondi, mainly, and a little bit of Trump. Some terrible stuff happened in Q3. This video occurred right after Charlie Kirk was assassinated. And so that was a terrible thing that happened. We don't put super obvious things like that in for Dumb Bleep of the Week. I always give the example, like this is a libertarian show. And so if I just put taxation for Dumb Bleep of the Week, then that would be like too obvious. I mean, I guess I could have put Charlie Kirk getting assassinated as a dumb thing, but that seems too, I don't know, serious to call dumb. You know what I mean? So that didn't make it in there for that. We had Trump's comments on the Epstein files that didn't win for this quarter. It was Epstein. Epstein.
Forgot about Epstein.
Still talking about Epstein? Like this right here.
The former Labor Secretary, who was Miami U.S. Attorney Alex Costa. So could you the jailhouse tape on the night of the set?
Yeah.
Are you still talking about Jeffrey Epstein? This guy's been talked about for years. You're asking, we have Texas, we have this, we have all of the things. And are people still talking about this guy, this creep? That is unbelievable. Do you want to waste the time, and do you feel like answering?
I don't mind answering.
I mean, I can't believe you're asking a question on Epstein at a time like this where we're having some of the...
So we had,
By the way,
that won for the month.
There's this saying that I think rings pretty true 99% of the time, that the truth doesn't mind to be questioned because it's just the truth. There's no reason to get upset or try to shut someone down. But lies hate to be questioned. And if you notice Trump's response there, like he's basically trying to get you to stop talking about it altogether because then you don't have to keep lying. He's like, Epstein, you want to talk about this again? This creep, this guy? We've talked about it enough.
You're crazy.
This is crazy. This is ridiculous. We have all this good stuff. You want to ruin the day by bringing up this?
Yeah.
And maybe I've seen this dynamic play out quite a bit in my life personally, unfortunately, but I have that lived experience now.
Me too.
So I guess
I've read about it playing out, so I think I know more about it than you.
Maybe I could write a book.
I was watching a live group talk about The Jerk because I was referencing The Jerk earlier, and it just made me feel like I got to watch that movie.
Great movie.
There's so many good things in that. When he's talking about this part of that scene, I just have to say, they're talking about keeping the rents up to keep out. First off, it says keep out the eggplants. And he's like, yeah, we wouldn't want any vegetables. He's like, no, not vegetables. Keep the what's he call it? Jungle bunnies out. He's like, of course they'll eat the vegetables. God, that's so good.
Yeah.
All right, let's go to number 3 here. This is Pam Bondi talking about hate speech. Pam Bondi on hate speech, and this is in reference to what happened to Charlie Kirk. Here we go.
There's free speech, and then there's hate speech. And there is no place, especially now, especially after what happened to Charlie, in our society.
Do you see more law enforcement going after these groups who are using hate speech and putting cuffs on people so we show them that some action is better than no action?
We will absolutely target you, go after you, if you are targeting anyone with hate speech, anything. And that's across the aisle.
It's like the last thing. I mean, you hate to speak for someone that died, but I'll just read the thing from Charlie Kirk. Then he says, hate speech does not exist legally in America. There's ugly speech, there's gross speech, there's evil speech, and all of it is protected by the First Amendment. Keep America free. And he said that 4 months. No, sorry, that was in 2024. Not 25.
By the way, surrounding all this was also
months.
anything you said against Israel was just automatically anti-Semitic.
Yeah, that was. So they were going after people for hate speech about Israel earlier in the year too, and that was a really weird thing that happened, targeting like deportations and stuff of people. There was one case of This girl, I can't remember the name of the college now. I think it was in Texas. I read the paper or whatever that she wrote criticizing the college, and it just criticized the college. It didn't even really say much about Israel. It just criticized like how they were treating, the different groups and all that. It didn't say like a bunch of mean stuff about Israel or whatever. And they're like, nope, gotta go. That was a really dumb way to start off the year too. That was a, kind of first sign of some concern there. But that's not all we had from Pam Bondi that week, that day actually, because she's wearing the same outfit in all of these videos. So in this one, she is talking about...
By the way, can I just mention quickly?
You can.
Around this whole Israel thing.
Uh-huh.
That when Trump was, I guess, after you interviewed Scott Horton when, I think right before Trump won. Mm-hmm. And he was talking about, he made the prediction that he was bought and paid for by Miriam Edelstein. Adelson.
Close.
Sorry. Miriam.
Edelstein.
The billionaires, the Israeli billionaires.
Yep.
And I'm surprised that clip didn't go more viral than it did. But I thought that was very interesting at the time. And then as this thing has played out, including Trump not that long ago, a couple weeks ago, bringing Miriam on stage.
There's been some weird stuff.
It's so true.
Yeah.
It is so true. He literally said from the podium that she gave $250 million directly and indirectly and could probably give more.
Oh, they're talking about trying to give him the run for another term. And he was like, well, for another $250 million. Yeah.
And just, man, Scott Horton, that's just a great call out. Just absolutely genius. He said 150 million. He was short 100.
I haven't watched that clip in a bit. Yeah, that clip didn't do very well.
And by the way, I'm trying to explain some of the hate speech surrounding. I know the Israel thing happened before this, and then the Charlie Kirk thing happened, and they were trying to. This is the woke right, by the way. If you want to talk about who is woke right, Pam Bondi, Trump, MAGA. Those are the people that are trying to use literally the same woke mind virus leftist tactics that we all hated when it was happening on the left.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, and this is the problem that you run into when you play identity politics. And there was so much hatred for it from people on the right when it was happening, or when it was embodying itself from the left, that we want to turn around and use the same tactics. It's the same thing as wanting to punch back. And I talked about this during Trump's first term. Like, most people I know voted for Trump because they liked the fact that this guy is willing to hit back.
Mm-hmm.
Even if he uses the same tactics that got you there in the first place. And I don't know about you, but my grandpappy told me when I was growing up, and 2 wrongs don't make a right.
Well, it depends on whether or not it's the right guy doing it.
Okay.
Yeah, you got to keep that in mind. I'm just looking for that clip. I can't find that clip. I just searched it on our page. I don't see it on our page. And I just searched it on our YouTube, and I don't see it on our YouTube.
Is that one you accidentally deleted?
No, I don't think so.
It's got to be on Twitter.
Yeah. Anyway, here's another clip of Bondi, 29 seconds. Here we go.
That's horrific. It's free speech, but you shouldn't be employed anywhere if you're going to say that. And employers, you have an obligation to get rid of people. You need to look at people who are saying horrible things, and they shouldn't be working with you. Businesses cannot discriminate. If you want to go in and print posters with Charlie's pictures on them for a vigil, you have to let them do that. We can prosecute you for that. I have Harmeet Dillon right now in our civil rights unit looking at that immediately, that Office Depot had done that. We're looking at that. But
so that one is in reference to someone trying to go print off posters for a Charlie Kirk vigil, and there was a couple employees in there that said they weren't going to do it, which is dumb, and at least one of them got fired, and I think Office Depot, whoever it was, apologized for it. But I just want to be clear, this is coming from the right, and so many people in here be like, yeah, you can't discriminate against people who are on the right trying to do this stuff, and I'm like, of course, we got to talk about the bake the cake thing.
I was going to say, bake the cake.
Got to talk about baking the cake. And the problem, as we identified during the bake the cake conversation, is that conversation was really never about what it needed to be about. It always boiled down to like religious freedom for the bake the cake scenario. And that is a really bad way to frame that conversation. And it's not a very good principle for people to hold to, because what you're saying is, well, religious people have some more rights, I guess, to discriminate against people at their businesses than other people do, simply because they are religious. And I don't agree with that at all. I think people have the right to associate or not associate, or do business or not do business with people that they do or do not want to be around or do business with.
Remember, there used to be signs on doors that says we have the right to refuse service to anyone. So,
and so
for any reason,
the problem with that conversation, which we talked about at the time, which is what happens when it's not some kind of religious exemption for someone or some kind of religious reason that they want to do this. Everyone was arguing on the religious grounds when they should have been arguing on property rights grounds. And when you think about it in property rights grounds, where the people at Office Depot, like if the company wanted to decide that they weren't going to print off Charlie Kirk posters, well, then the government should not be going after them for that. You know, if we owned the printing business and we decided we didn't want to print off Karl Marx posters or something like that,
or Che Guevara
and people,
t-shirts.
Whatever, yeah. Is someone going to go after us for that? The government going to come after us for not printing that? No, that's ridiculous. And you see, I just framed it once again for you guys in the right guy, wrong guy. See, in this case, you think it's the right guy going after the wrong people who don't want to print stuff that has the right guy's face on it. And so that's a problem. But when we framed it, when the wrong people wanted me to print the wrong guy's face on a shirt, well, then I was the right guy in that scenario, which meant I could discriminate against those people, and that's fine. And that's when you don't have like a universal principle for people. That's the really screwed up world that you end up in. All right. I think, let me see. Oh, I have one more thing for number 3.
Most people want a dictator. They just want their dictator.
Yeah, they want their benevolent dictator who's going to do the things that they want. I included this. I don't think anyone ever thought it was as dumb as I did. It just, in the moment when they're talking about going after hate speech, and the AG is out there talking about going after hate speech, for Trump to come out and say that what ABC says about Trump is hate speech, it's just kind of a dangerous line there. I think you and I disagreed on this, but I have to play it. Here we go.
And what do you make Pam Bondi saying she's going to go after hate speech? Is that, I mean, a lot of your allies say hate speech is free speech.
She'll probably go after people like you because you treat me so unfairly. It's hate. You have a lot of hate in your heart. Maybe they'll come after ABC. Well, ABC paid me $16 million recently for a form of hate speech, right? Your company paid me $16 million for a form of hate speech. So maybe they'll have to go after you.
They didn't pay him $16 million for a form of hate speech. First off, they probably just settled with something because they didn't want to actually go through a court case. But if anything, they would have paid him money because of some kind of defamation or whatever. I don't remember what the ABC case was. There's been like a case with every news outlet now. I don't remember what ABC was specifically.
Slander, libel, defamation.
So like when you hear it right now, well, maybe if you're a Trump supporter or whatever, you're like, oh, you know, Trump. If it were Biden out there during 2022 talking about how Fox News was doing hate speech, talking about how Biden was trying to force the vaccine on everyone, and they want to go after hate speech, and this is the woke regime, and they were going after people back then, then you're like, oh, that's very dangerous for the president to be calling like news reporting hate speech because it's negative about him, right? While the AG is out there saying that they're going to go after hate speech and tell someone on the podcast that they're going to be putting people in handcuffs to show them that they're going after people.
They're going to target you.
That's not good. That's not good at all. But in this case, it was the right guy saying it. So
I remember this not lasting very long, though. It didn't land well, so they didn't keep going.
No. Basically, I mean, there was some of the diehard craziest people that were with him on this, but there were, and it was so obvious they were doing it because of what happened to Charlie Kirk. And if anyone that listened to Charlie Kirk knew that he would have been strongly against this. And so you can't be doing something in someone else's name that they would have been completely against you doing.
That's the wildest thing.
That's the other biggest dumb umbrella layer on top of this whole dumb is trying to do that in his name.
Yeah.
So, okay. That's number 3. Number 4, that's pretty easy. There's only one clip here.
You talked about Republicans.
Hey, shh, woman. This is Jasmine Crockett. So that's number 3. Number 4.
Who is that? Taylor? Is that Taylor?
No, that is Caitlin Collins. Is her name, from CNN, and we're gonna do. She's talking to Jasmine Crockett, and this happened in the 3rd week of November, I believe. This is as all the Epstein stuff was happening, and it's kind of crazy. We don't just have, Trump's handling of the Epstein files as like a dumb bleep of the year option for people to vote on, but that's just, it was like a trickle of dumbness that happened and culminated throughout the entire year, and then was beat out by some other stupid stuff. So this has to do with the Epstein files and something Jasmine Crockett did. It was very funny, very awkward exchange here on CNN, because of course people know that Epstein had funded some people's political elections. And maybe it was, in fact, a couple Democrats that he had donated some money to. And so Jasmine Crockett decided to go up there and say, well, we looked it up, and it turns out Epstein also donated money to all of these Republicans. So you don't want to forget about that. And of course, as most people know here, it turned out to be this poor guy named Dr. Jeffrey Epstein, who's, from like Missouri or something. I don't know where he's from.
Well, but that's not really the dumb. The dumb is how Jasmine tries to spin this.
Yeah.
Okay.
Just zero accountability.
Similar to Douglas Murray.
Yeah.
That's the narcissistic tactics that these folks use. And God, a lot of people have a hard time figuring out, myself included, by the way. I'm not dogging on anybody right now, but these people rise to places of power because they're able to manipulate situations, and a lot of people believe them. But pay close attention to how she tries to twist this situation. And it's similar to Douglas Murray, Trump, all these other people with narcissistic tendencies. Whether they're full-blown narcissists or not, I can't diagnose them, but you can make up your own opinion.
Mm-hmm. They do things that narcissists do on occasion.
Narcissists do a lot.
Yeah. Yeah. And they do it a lot too. But you can't diagnose them, clearly, because you're not a doctor. Here's this exchange.
Taking money from a Jeffrey Epstein. Here's what you said.
That's an awkward pause.
Also took money from somebody named Jeffrey Epstein, as I had my team dig in very quickly. Mitt Romney, the NRCC, Lee Zeldin, George Bush, Win Red, McCain Palin, Rick Lazio.
You mentioned Lee Zeldin there. He's now a cabinet secretary. He responded and said it was actually Dr. Jeffrey Epstein, who's a doctor that doesn't have any relation to the convicted sex trafficker. Unfortunate for that doctor, but that is who donated to a prior campaign of his. Do you want to correct the record on the people that
Listen, I never said that it was that Jeffrey Epstein, just so that people understand when you make a donation, you're
anyone who
right off the bat.
Anyone who assumed that's there's some this
crisscross
thing's messed
wires.
Up. Yeah, there's something messed up in here. Anyone who assumed that I was talking about that Jeffrey Epstein, well, those are the people that are wrong here, because I didn't anytime. Actually, we talked about the Epstein files handling, and I just want to clarify with everyone that we were talking about that Jeffrey Epstein. Okay, because I know this whole time you guys were like, what? Why do I know there's so many Jeffrey Epsteins out there. I have no idea which Epstein
why would I be
Nate
mentioning,
and Chuck are talking about.
Why would I be mentioning Jeffrey Epstein from the House floor?
Yeah.
Just in a conversation about Jeffrey Epstein, the sex offender.
Like while we're voting and talking about stuff.
To be clear, on the House floor, she did say somebody named Jeffrey Epstein.
Yeah, she
gave herself an out.
She gave an out for sure.
Yeah, but everyone knows. God, this is the whole semantics thing. It's like you're talking about something very specific, and then you're going to try to say, oh, just right off the bat, play it again. Because right off the bat, it's unbelievable.
I can't remember this lady's name, but I think she was the one that was texting Is she the one that was texting Jeffrey Epstein during one of the hearings? Let me see here. Let me back this up.
Back in the day?
Yeah. Here we go.
Who also took money from somebody named Jeffrey Epstein, as I had my team dig in very quickly. Mitt Romney, the NRCC, Lee Zeldin, George Bush, Win Red, McCain Palin, Rick Lazio.
You mentioned Lee Zeldin there. He's now a cabinet secretary. He responded and said it was actually Dr. Jeffrey Epstein, who's a doctor that doesn't have any relation to the convicted sex trafficker. Unfortunate for that doctor, but that is who donated to a prior campaign of his. Do you want to correct the record on the people that
Listen, I never said that it was that Jeffrey Epstein. Just so that people understand, when you make a donation, your picture is not there. And because they decided to spring this on us in real time.
Oh, it's also their fault because that got sprung on them too fast.
Reverse victim offender right here.
Now, what's great about this is she's going to say, well, we didn't have time to do adequate research. To which I would say, yeah, so don't go up there and say a bunch of stuff. It's like they didn't give us time to do it. So
this is not our fault.
I wanted the Republicans to think about what could potentially happen because I knew that they didn't even try to go through the FEC. So my team, what they did is they Googled, and that is specifically why I said a Jeffrey Epstein. Unlike Republicans,
see, there you go.
I at least don't go out and just tell lies. Because it was not the same one, that's fine. But when Lee Zeldin had something to say, all he had to say was it was a different Jeffrey Epstein. He admitted that he did receive donations from a Jeffrey Epstein, so at least I wasn't trying to mislead people. Now, have I?
At least I wasn't trying to do exactly what I did.
He admitted. It turns out I was right. He did get donations from Jeffrey Epstein.
From a Jeffrey Epstein.
So I wasn't trying to mislead anyone.
Dug in to find out who this doctor is. I have not. So I will trust and take what he says is that it wasn't that Jeffrey Epstein, but I was not attempting to mislead anybody. I literally had maybe 20 minutes before I had to do that debate.
By the way, pause right there. That's another tactic they use, by the way. She wasn't even technically being accused of misleading. You know, she just said, hey, do you want to correct the record?
Mm-hmm.
That was the question.
Yeah.
And she voluntarily says, well, I wasn't attempting to mislead anyone.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
It reminds me of a conversation I had not that long ago. Not a conversation, but somebody was asked the question regarding, let's say, medication.
Mm-hmm.
And their answer was, well, I never diverted any medication from the hospital. Well, that wasn't the question.
Not wittingly, no.
Why did you voluntarily submit that information? That wasn't the question that was asked.
Mm-hmm.
So they will tell you exactly what they did by
the way they answer,
by adding information that wasn't asked about.
Yeah.
So
that's pretty dumb.
That's real dumb.
It's so dumb. It won Q4. All right. So in order to try and correct any potential recency bias, I have to just mention once again what we had earlier. Of course, just before this, we had the AG and the president talking about going after hate speech immediately following the assassination of someone who was vehemently against the idea of hate speech even being a thing. And so that's ridiculous. And then let's not forget the Douglas Murray versus Dave Smith fiasco and how just absolutely insane that was. And then on top of that, don't want to even forget about Trump going after like the closest person that represents our ideas and many of our listeners' ideas that exist in the U.S. government. And I took that personally, you know?
Yeah.
And so that is also very upsetting. Those were the things. Ooh. Number one was Trump versus Massie. Number two, Douglas Murray versus Dave Smith.
Versus Douglas Murray.
On lived experience. Number three was Trump and Pam, hate speech. And number four was Jasmine Crockett on Dr. Jeffrey Epstein. While the people,
the elite,
this is democratic, while they're getting their votes in, it's time to go get those votes in. Everyone who's listening, go get those votes in. I'm going to give you...
Well, listening to the Fed Haters Club.
Yeah,
those listening
people
on the podcast.
Yeah.
You don't have an opportunity to vote.
I told them yesterday on the show it was their last day to get in and be able to do this vote. I'm going to play a couple honorable mentions while those people are getting their votes in. So they got a few minutes. I want to make sure everyone goes in there. Charlie, you can vote too. I can vote too, just in case. But let me scroll through here and see what else we got for honorable mentions. Oh, this is a good one. Misfit Patriot. This is after that school got shot up. He says, cool. He's talking to Dave Smith. Maybe talk about how you and your friend's Holocaust denial led to a guy shooting up a bunch of kids today. And on the rifle, there were some anti-Israel things written on there. And so the Holocaust denial led to this person shooting up a Catholic school. As you guys can't imagine, that's typically how that plays out. Awesome Jew said something similar as well. Make no mistake, everyone on X spreading anti-Semitic propaganda bears responsibility for fueling this mass shooting of the Catholic school that was shot up. We got the Thomas Massie ad right here. While people are voting, let's play the first anti-Massie ad. And I got a couple good ideas for videos, by the way. I don't know if I should say it on the show, but I'm probably not going to do it. I'm not going to have time to do it.
While you're doing this, by the way, the vote's over. There's a clear winner.
Oh, man.
So I don't want to reveal it later.
Yeah, we're not going to tell you right now. We're going to watch this Thomas Massie ad, anti-Thomas Massie ad. My plan is I would love to make one of these, but I want each thing to be like specifically really good things that Thomas Massie did, but I want it to be said in the like Thomas Massie did in the all this stuff. That's
Thomas
that's really
Massie led the charge with leftist Democrat Ro Khanna to expose government secrets and release the Epstein files.
No, I wouldn't even put in the leftist Democrat part. Like it needs to be an ad that potentially a right-winger will watch and be like, oh, crap. I want to do that. I'll never have time to do it. And I don't have the skills to do it either. We got to talk to Dan. Dan Smarts.
Schmatz.
And to Thomas Massie, President Trump is banning sex changes on minors. Massie voted against it. President Trump is cutting taxes and saving Kentucky families $10,000. Massie voted against it. President Trump is securing our border and deporting criminal aliens. Massie voted against Trump again. And after Trump obliterated Iran's nuclear weapons program, Massie sided with Democrats and the Ayatollah. Let's fire Thomas Massie. MAGA Kentucky is responsible.
By the way,
sided with these Democrats and the Ayatollah.
When did this come out? June 26th is this post right here. It was so obliterated that just in the last week, Iran's program is so obliterated that just in the last week, we've been talking about needing to hit Iran again. And this ad came out at the end of June. And that's just how
so
obliterated
6 months later,
it was.
Those centrifuges are spinning up again.
And then he sided with AOC, Bernie Sanders, and the Ayatollah.
Because he tweeted or he posted on X, this is not constitutional.
The Ayatollah is real big on the Constitution. He's a big fan, for sure. Voted against the tax cuts because clearly Thomas Massie loves taxes. See, the biggest problem with things like this is not a Dumb Bleep of the Year submission, but this has got to be an honorable mention. I would love to see people just make honest arguments about things and not do straight up lies. Whoever made this knows that all the implications behind these things are clearly lies. Like the implication there is that Thomas Massie just loves taxing your money and Trump wants to give you back more of your money. And whoever made that knows it's a lie. Trump knows it's a lie. Most of the MAGA X grifters out there know it's a lie. And they still make it. I would respect an argument that says, I get Thomas Massie has these principles, and his principles, they are correct, and they are the principles of the Founding Fathers, but we got to work with the actual reality here on the ground and the fact that the left is so terrible and dangerous. And while I understand that he doesn't want to vote for things that would that the founding fathers wouldn't like. That's why they didn't put it in the Constitution. You know, we've got to be realistic about the situation that we're actually in right now, and it's just not good political strategy for him to do these things. And he ought to know Trump's going to come after him, you know? And like, at least that's an honest argument. Just make the honest argument.
Yeah.
Like when I see people actually make that argument, I can actually engage in that conversation, and we can have a nice, respectful conversation about political strategy, like long-term political strategy about things. And, you know, it's like libertarians deciding to vote for Trump. It's like clearly not a libertarian, but it was a little bit of political gamesmanship that was attempted in that moment. And so should Massie also have that mindset sometimes as well? But to go out and just lie about stuff, like to imply that he is in favor of sex changes for minors, you know, it's like you got a bill that spends $3 trillion on Somali daycares and bans sex changes for minors. Massie votes against it. And so he's against banning sex changes for minors.
Yeah.
Like it's that kind of thing.
The tax cuts was the whole big, beautiful bill that Thomas Massie was opposed to because it increased spending like crazy. It's hilarious.
Oh, just other dumb things that happened this year. This is Howard Lutnick saying that the government taking 10% ownership of Intel is not socialism, it's capitalism. And so that's good.
The Biden administration had given $11 billion to Intel, given it to them. Done. Corporate just gift. And you turn that into really, you know, it was like less than 5 minutes of conversation. And Intel agreed to give us 10% of their company, which of course was worth $11 billion. So it's not socialism. This is capitalism. If you give someone $11 billion who's just building in America, they're not doing something special. They're building in America. And their CEO told the president he didn't need the grant. And you said, well, then why don't we get something for it?
Well, you know, if you told the president he didn't need the grant, they should have just not done it and given it back to the American people. Would have been the best thing. Capitalism is not typically where the capital that you allocate was taken from people with a gun put in their face,
stolen money,
or threat of jail time. That's something else. That's like what existed before capitalism. So that's more Thomas Massie stuff. We talked a lot about that. Oh, WNBA players wearing their "Pay Us What You Owe Us" shirts for their warm-ups. That didn't make it to Dumb Bleep of the Year.
By the way, I saw there's a recent tennis match.
I saw
I don't know
that.
if you saw this.
Yeah.
A guy who was ranked like 641st in the world took on the #1 women's ranked tennis player. The court was different,
Smaller
by the way.
court.
Smaller. Regular size court for her, a smaller court for him. And he just basically eviscerated her. But I thought the funniest comment I saw on the video, I think I saw it on TikTok or Instagram, I can't remember. The funniest comment, the comments are always great. You got to go check out the comments. Funniest thing I saw was somebody posted, "All right, I've seen enough. The pay gap isn't wide enough."
It's not. Really. Let's see here.
By the way, this isn't a diss on women. I love women. And I think, you know, I was just watching the chess championships this last week, and a lot of people were saying how like misogynistic all the commenters were because they're talking about how the women couldn't beat the men and all of this stuff. And
chess,
like the game chess, 2 S's, chess.
The chess championships are next week.
So, and people were like, what was funny to me is like, well, it's not being misogynistic. Like, why is there a women's division? Why don't they just play? Why don't it's just one division?
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's like they separate it out so that the women can win money too. That's like you had a woman winner and you had a male winner, and you know everybody got prize money for it. They separate it out, and I think they should. By the way, I think that does.
Wait, are you saying I missed a little bit of that because I was reading it? Are you saying they separate out chess?
Yeah, you have a women's division and a men's division in chess.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
That's not one I would have imagined I'm not sure I agree with that.
What? But here's the thing.
No, I know. I would just like to make the point that a guy wins every single year.
Yes.
Yeah, I would rather just make that point.
That's the problem.
Yeah.
That's why they have to
That's
separate
not a physical competition.
That's why they have to separate it out, though. But
I'm always told that women are way smarter than men.
Well, on average, they are. But
at the extremes.
But at the extremes, it's men.
Yeah.
Men aren't the smartest person in the room is going to be a man. The dumbest person in the room is going to be a man. Women are smarter on average.
Yeah.
So you have more women that fall within the median to higher IQ range.
No, the women's chess set is checkers.
And by the way, I'm all for that.
Kidding.
I think you should separate male and female sports.
I'm terrible at that game.
And games, so that they have a chance at competing against people that are like them.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that is very supportive of women. And it's not a bad thing to just say what the truth is. You know. By the way, while I'm saying that a man is the smartest person in the room, I'm also saying that a man is the dumbest person in the room.
Yep.
Because men extrapolate more at the extremes.
All right.
So
the Venezuela thing happened this year. Didn't win a single week or month or even our year. Just didn't happen. Not a single week.
People must love war now.
Did Trump's actions against Venezuelan narco terrorists win a dumb bleep of the week? And I forced it in there
several times,
many times on an almost weekly basis. There for a bit, I forced something in there about it, and never won. And that's fine. That's fine. If y'all warmongers in the Fed Haters Club don't want to have don't want to have that in there. No, I just wanted to point out that this is also a year that we've been doing that, and there was a land strike apparently conducted by the CIA last week in Venezuela. No one was hurt, just a lot of, I guess, drugs blown up or something at a port, or maybe just trying to destroy their capabilities. And so that's been happening this year. This is the year that we had that Misfit Patriot post that said, "I'm okay with as many dead kids as it takes to stop Hamas." Remember that?
Yeah.
One of our greatest hits of the year.
Yeah. Kill all the innocent children.
Yeah.
By the way, there's a lot of people that think that.
Yeah, a lot of people for sure.
That's insane.
Mm-hmm. The dumber part about this was that he used the Bible story about something that
and the F word and the P word all in the same post.
Yeah, all in the same paragraph.
Yeah.
God didn't give a F when he says. And so what's wild to me is that I always try to do this when I'm talking because we get a large libertarian audience. And I think libertarians are like 50-50 on religion or whatever. But whatever. Regardless of where you come down, you have to think as someone who believes and then would also say, well, since God did this, well, that's why I can destroy this city as well, because it's something that God did. And I don't think that's the intention behind that story. Like when God wanted it destroyed, like he did it. Like you rain some hellfire down. You don't need, like if you're God, you don't need these earthly mechanical planes and missiles to go destroy the things that are in that city. If you want it destroyed, you just wipe it out, you know? Like he's been trying to do to California for years, you know? And so you don't need, like, that's man doing that thing, not God. So that was my main point on that. God, have we even got this stupid
Which, by
thing
the
that
way,
Democrats put out?
Tucker Carlson has gotten really good on over the last couple months, talking about the fact that, like, you have to take the moral high ground back from these people. And the moral high ground here is that anything that involves killing innocent children is wrong. Like, it's just wrong. That doesn't mean that Israel doesn't have a right to defend itself. That's not what that means. But if defending yourself includes the careless, reckless murder of thousands of children, then that's wrong.
Mm-hmm.
It's wrong when anyone does it. Anyone. I don't care if it's Israel, Russia, Korea, China, United States. It's wrong. And that's the moral high ground that you have to take back from these F and P words when they post stupid things on X.
On top of that, like at the very least, what we should demand as Americans is that they don't double wrong it and steal from us to
This
then
video playing
kill
while we're talking about
this. This is the choose your fighter video that Democrats somehow thought was a good idea to put out. It's like an old.
That's my favorite one right there. The pooping.
It's good. What about that one though?
God.
You don't think that? Okay, so we do have a winner of Dumb Bleep of the Year. I don't know. We've been filibustering during this time. We got
by a landslide.
Yeah, but I thought that Jasmine Crockett was going to win, but it turns out the winner of Dumb Bleep
of the year.
I'm trying to find the video.
You'll find out tomorrow.
We will announce on tomorrow's Dumb Bleep of the Year winner episode. Where we talk for an hour and then tell you what the winner is. No, and in fact, it's this guy right here.
It's a normal thing to do. You're talking about, hang on, there's no deficit of goods coming in. I've been plenty of times.
There is no deficit?
No, there are
no
plenty
goods were kept out.
There are plenty. How many? Have you been to the crossing points?
No.
When were you last there at all?
I've never been.
You've never been?
Well, am I not allowed to talk about it now? I've never been to. Have you ever been to Nazi Germany? Are you allowed to have
every time? You've never been. Every time.
Okay.
Douglas Murray.
I've got
Dumb Bleep of the Year.
I've got an idea for the trophy disbursement on this one, by the way. I was going to run it by you, see what you think. Let me pull that up. Who was the first? So this was Costco. Costco won that one.
How about that?
I went through everything earlier today, and he was the first person to post anything in the Dumb Bleep Ideas section. So that was Costco that won that one. Good job, Costco. Costco puts, I don't know, like 20 to 30 submissions a week in there. I would say it's a lot. A lot of submissions that go in there. He's quick on the draw, and we appreciate
our appreciation to Nate and Costco.
Yeah,
even though Costco hates me.
The other ones who had potential, it was actually only Jake, the Councilman Yep,
From State Farm
had two potentials in here because he and Costco posted the Trump versus Massie thing.
At the same time.
Well, there were two Truth Social posts from the Trump versus Massie thing, and Costco posted one of them, and Jake posted the other one from State Farm posted the other. And then he posted the first clip of Pam Bondi talking about hate speech. So actually was potential on two. And then I found the Jasmine Crockett one, like I would say 10 minutes before starting that Dumb Bleep of the Week episode. I found the Jasmine Crockett thing and threw it in there, and it made it all the way to the final four. You just never know.
You never know what's going to be the dumbest.
That it was almost not in there. If I would have had the P at that moment that I saw that thing, it wouldn't have made it in, and we could have been talking about Obama or something right now.
By the way, what's interesting is there's kind of a theme with the Dumb Bleep of the Year. And the theme is the narcissistic tactics that these people use to try to gaslight and manipulate you. They all made it to Dumb Bleep of the Year.
Yeah, so. And while it wasn't these specific situations each time, the Trump versus Massie thing really has a lot to do with attacking like the principles of the Constitution, attacking Thomas Massie, attacking someone who cares about spending, stuff like that. This has to do with, something we all wanted to see from the Trump administration this year, not really happening. The Douglas Murray thing has to do with appeal to authority, this elitism, this expertise thing, and a little bit of, they were in there talking about Israel too. So, and Russia, Ukraine. The Trump and Pam hate speech thing, while we didn't do a direct Charlie Kirk thing, that was in response to Charlie Kirk. And then the Jasmine Crockett thing, well, that was about Jeffrey Epstein, Dr. Jeffrey Epstein from Minnesota. So
not to get confused with the
no,
with the sexual predator Jeffrey Epstein.
No, didn't talk about that at all. So
what a year.
That was a year.
What a year.
How many, I did this yesterday. How many, I would just like to give everyone a recap of how we did with growth. How many impressions do you think we had on X this year?
Total?
Yep.
20 million.
20.1 million.
Look at that.
That's a pretty good guess right there. Our YouTube plays were down 95%. Just in case anyone's worried I'm bragging right now. So
that one libertarian was right.
Yeah.
About our YouTube views.
Yeah.
What about the rest of our social media?
That was pretty good. We gained a couple hundred new followers on X just from that one post a couple days ago. So that was good. Ton of growth on X, the one we care about. It's funny, we still have more followers on Facebook. We had a post on Facebook that got like over 500,000 views like last week. And I was like, Facebook, who cares? That's dumb. And then I haven't been back on there since then.
It's hard to see. It's hard to see everything, but in the last 90 days, we're up 842% on Facebook.
Yeah.
Which is nice.
That's pretty good. Let's keep that going.
Yeah.
We'll just 900% over, every 3 months. That'll be fine. But the point there is, thank you guys so much. As I said yesterday, thank you guys so much, especially the Fed Haters Club, for hanging out with us every day. And if you want to join and be part of that group, then you can go to joingml.com. It's only $7 a month, or you can do more if you want to do more. It just depends on how much you care about the future of the country. And to everyone who interacts with us on all the social media platforms, we really appreciate it. We are doing a lot more focus on trying to put up YouTube clips and shorts and stuff like that. Kind of got lazy this year and didn't put a whole lot of stuff up. So going to do that more. Have been doing that more over the last month or so. Anytime you guys comment on there or like the YouTube video or something like that, it's extremely helpful for sure. And extremely helpful on X and Facebook. And we've given up on TikTok and whatever other platforms. You can find us on Blue Sky, something like that. But anyway, we really appreciate y'all. And Costco, who won this year for the submission, wants to point out that the real winner of Don't Bleep of the Year is Chuck. Of course, it's a final statement there. But no, I had an idea. I think also, as an appreciation gift, we need to give Dave Smith a trophy because he was involved in this conversation with Douglas Murray. And we'll give him a trophy to take to Joe next time.
Yeah.
That kind of thing. But no, I feel like Dave Smith needs a trophy. He did the debate.
What is his going to be? Defeated Dumb Bleep of the Year recipient?
Like created Dumb Bleep of the Year Creator Award? Something like that.
Yeah.
All right.
We'll send him a nice letter.
Yeah.
To go along with it. Congratulations, Dave Smith.
Well, thanks a lot, everyone. We'll see you next year.
We'll see you next year.
I don't even have any kids.
All right, Dad.
Yeah, I don't even have any kids. I think we might skip tomorrow, though.
Yeah.
We'll see.
I do, even though Costco hates me, I still appreciate all of you.
Even Costco?
Yeah, even Costco.
Nice.
And this is something that is, a huge passion of mine and Nate's. I can speak for him on this. And you have to know that this is a difficult venture. But we continue to show up. Well, Nate continues to show up every day, and I continue to show up every other day. Because
on average,
on
if
average.
you average it out, yeah.
Because it matters. And so this is something that, I mean, just to be honest with you guys, at times we've thought about giving up.
Speak for yourself.
And,
I ain't never given up.
But we're not going to do it. We're never leaving.
It's our biggest year.
And this year, instead of giving up, we decided to invest more into the show. Hopefully you guys appreciate the new studio. We got additional cameras.
Although
lights.
I've done no work to bring guests in at all.
Yeah, well, the rest of the place needs a little cleaned up.
Well, we can clean it up if we got someone in here, but I just want to point out that once again, this was specifically made.
Didn't someone come
to have people? Yeah, I mean, yeah, we had
a few people come in.
Yes.
So.
There's been a couple. I have done no outreach to anyone to bring them in. There's been a couple people asked to come in.
But 2026 is going to be a really good year.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to be a great year for all sorts of things. So
or it could be awful. Could be the worst year of our lives.
Looking forward to that. Well, one really great thing is going to happen in February.
Oh yeah,
for me,
it's
so. There's going to be a celebration.
I just felt a moment of peace.
Yeah,
just thinking about that.
We got midterms coming up. We still have 3 years of presidency worth left with Trump, so that always makes for good TV.
Mm-hmm.
And we're going to focus on continuing to grow and be a force to reckon with, and try to bring more clarity and truth. Not that there's anything wrong with the Benny Johnsons and some of the folks of the world.
He does a great job.
But I think there needs to be less rhetoric and wanking on the MAGA stick.
That's not where I thought you were going to go with that.
Well, I was just watching Ted Lasso the other night. And wanka. There needs to be.
I went a totally different direction.
There needs to be less.
But so whatever of that's going on, we need to stop that too. I'm against it.
And there needs to be more I think clarity in politics. And I think there's a way for us to get the message out in a way that would resonate. So Nate and I are constantly working on that. We're always talking about it. We're using AI. Every tool that you could think of.
Make some AI slop for everyone.
It's
no, just kidding. We just have it tell us what the name are. Clips sometimes.
We're using every tool and thinking about this as much as you possibly can, so that this message can reach more people, which I think is a message of truth and clarity, and it's not just clickbait garbage.
Yeah, but unfortunately, it needs to look like clickbait garbage to get clicked
on the
on.
outside.
Yes, we have to start packaging our stuff like clickbait garbage.
Yes.
And then we're going to shock people. The bait is that it wasn't clickbait. It was bait to bring them into an actual real conversation about something.
And we're going to call this shake and bake.
Shake and bake.
Shake and bake bait.
That's pretty good. Yeah, I like that.
All right. Happy New Year. Great to see you all. If you enjoyed this year of podcasting, then share the show. And I think maybe in 2026, we'll be in a place we could actually have another meetup. Are we going to hit 2,000 episodes?
Nope, not unless we crank out some extras. Today is episode 1701.
Wow.
1701.
Yeah, that's where I guess we won't hit 2,000. Yeah. But we could just have a celebration over the summer.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, so if you enjoy that kind of thing, if you enjoy the show, share it around. Visit the links in the show notes, support the sponsors that support this show. Leave us a rating and review on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. Join the Fed Haters Club. That is the best way you can support us in helping this grow, and interact with social media. So YouTube, Facebook, X, Instagram.
Great point. This is a Minnesota goodbye. You are right about that. This is the last time we get to talk to you guys this year, though. So we got to make sure we get everything out. Episode 1776. Now that could be an event.
That could be an event.
Yeah, that's good. Good point there, Bundy.
That's coming up in 74 episodes. So That's 3.
This is 01. It's 75 episodes. Yes.
Oh, I thought this was 02.
No, this is 1. Yesterday it was. I did the 1700 party by myself yesterday.
That's true. 75 episodes. Yeah, that's 3-4 months away.
Yeah. Huh. Okay.
We'll have to cook up something special.
If we get there early, we'll just take a month off. And then we'll stop.
Yeah.
Right then. Okay, we gotta go.
We should just have a good old. Plus, it's America's 250th birthday next year.
I know.
In 1776.
Can we wait? Okay, we got to figure this out. We'll figure it out.
July 4th.
Well, we got to figure it out. Yeah.
It's going to be a July 4th episode.
Yep.
Wow, we're going to have a big July 4th celebration here in Nashville. We'll do the American thing. We'll make some hot dogs and hamburgers. You know, those types of good old American classics. We'll pass out back-to-back World War champ koozies to everyone. We're the only ones that have won back-to-back World Wars. So that's important. Anyway, lots of cool things could happen in 2026 is what we're trying to say.
Yeah.
So share it around. I was saying the Fed Haters Club is one of the... Well, I was trying to finish this out when you interrupted. Fed Haters Club is one of the best ways to support us because you get lots of great content. You get to vote. Lots of good value for you. But also we get to take that money and reinvest it into growing the show, which is what we do. So that is a really good way to support us. So if you've been on the fence of joining the Fed Haters Club, come join, talk to the people. You'll see for yourself. It is worth every single penny. So do that by going to joingml.com. If you do all of that, all of it, then we'll be back again next year. Until then, I hope you have a good day and a good morning, Liberty.